Welcome, 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 you guys, to day number 2 from badass to binge free. I'm so fired up for this training. I woke up so early this morning and I just have this fire in my belly, this passion in my soul to serve you guys today and really showcase my root and rewire process because you guys have probably heard me talk about rewiring your brain a million and one times. And I'm excited to dive deeper into what this actually looks like for you guys. So, Christina's here, Clara's here, Erin's here. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited. So, day one was really focused on the mindset piece of things, right? Having a strong, rock solid, I call it, badass mindset to conquer. Because as you probably can tell, if you've been on this journey for a hot minute or, maybe you're just getting started, it's really easy to have a good, positive, badass mindset when things are going well. But that's actually not when it really matters. It really matters the most when it feels like things aren't working, when it feels like people are progressing so much faster than me, when it feels like I don't get it. I'm so eager. I want nothing more than to stop my binge eating, but it just feels like I'm not making the progress that I'm longing for. And that's actually when your badass mindset needs to kick in. So that was day one. Day one was all about the mindset. And then today is all about the strategy. And this is also really important because you can have a badass mindset. You can have all the faith in the world. I trust, I believe I can do this. You can be positive. But if you don't actually have the right tools, it doesn't really matter how positive you are. It doesn't matter how much faith you have. You need to know how to not give into your urges. You need to know how to be able to be at your favorite restaurant and be enjoying your favorite dish and just comfortably be able to stop when you're full. You need to know how to be able to enjoy the food that you're craving without the little voice inside of your mind that says you probably shouldn't be eating this. You actually need to know the proper tools, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. Okay. Now, as a reminder, before we dive into the second part, which I'm excited about, there is the giveaway. Okay. So if you still want to participate in the giveaway, there is a chance to win $111 to $333 badass credits to use towards any of my programs. All you need to do is leave a rating and review on the Ditch Decade Diets podcast, screenshot it, message me, or anytime throughout this masterclass, if there's takeaways, aha moments, breakthroughs, simply just message me what the breakthrough was, what the takeaway was, and you'll be entered to draw. Like it's literally that simple. Okay. So if you want to enter the giveaway, you can do that. Okay. So there was a very big difference between the version of me in 2018 trying to conquer binge eating and the version of me in 2019 who conquered. And maybe you have had periods in your life where it's like, I feel like I'm trying really, really, really hard. Like there's everything in me. Like I'm ready to conquer. I'm ready to do this. Like I want it really badly, but you just feel like the results aren't matching your efforts. That's how I felt in 2018. So in 2018, I wanted it badly. I was like, I'm ready to do this. I know that I've spent literally 10 years of my life restricting, fearing certain foods, and I'm ready to not just improve my relationship with food. I'm ready to love myself. I'm ready to stop beating myself up. I'm ready to just eat normally again. And I wanted it badly. I was ready to stop. I'm like, I'm going to do this. Like 2018 version of me, I'm like, something needs to change because I know that it's not normal to be spending so much time thinking about food. Like, I understand that that's not normal. Was I positive? Yes. Did I want it badly? Yes. Did I say, I am going to do this? Yes. But there was something missing. I had it in me. I was like, I have the rock solid badass mindset. I'm going to do this. I'm ready. I'm done with diets. I'm ready to change my life. I'm ready to be more present with my husband. I'm ready to be a better example to my future children. Like, I'm ready. The missing piece was knowing the tools of what to do. I didn't know how to not give in to my urges, except just tell myself, don't do it. I didn't know how to go to a restaurant and literally not be thinking about food the whole time I'm trying to be present with my husband. I'm like, did I order the right thing? Should I call the waiter back? Should I tell the waiter that I made the wrong choice? And should I actually go back and get the salad instead of the wrap that I just ordered? I didn't know how to stop thinking about food. It was all I thought about. I didn't know how to just relax in the evenings. You would hear some people being like, I had this beautiful nighttime routine and I took a bubble bath. And I'm like, I don't know how to just chill in the evenings without eating. That was the time that I would unwind. That would be the time that I would relax after just a busy day. Just gonna grab a snack and eat. What do you mean? How do I not do that? I didn't know. So, knowing what to do, AKA the strategy to rewire your brain, is important. You have to know what to do. You can be the most positive person in the world, have the most incredible badass mindset, but if you don't actually know what to do, it's going to be hard to not give in to your urges. It's going to be hard to go to that restaurant and leave food on your plate once you've had enough. It's going to be hard to change your evenings from always needing a snack as like a reward to unwind and to relax to actually do something different. So 2018, I was like, I'm going to do this. But I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the support. I was trying on my own. I didn't know what to do other than like just try to convince myself like only have one cookie. Like, okay, just try to be present with your husband when you're at this restaurant. Like I didn't know the tools. And it was actually New Year's Eve of 2018. And I remember being at my grandma's house. And I started to get excited because I started to make little shifts with my relationship with food. So I was no longer dieting, right? I've released my food rules. I was eating intuitively and I was kind of getting excited because I started to feel this level of freedom already. You guys can probably think back to the moment you like press delete on MyFitnessPal or you just stop dieting and it just felt like this freeing feeling. I felt like a weight just like got relieved. I'm like, oh, this actually feels so good. Like I could just eat. Like I can have this cookie if I want. What do you mean I can have my mom's lasagna? Like it felt very freeing. I started to make some little shifts. But what ended up happening was there was chocolate chip zucchini bread on the table. And I'm not dieting anymore. So technically, I could just grab a slice of chocolate chip zucchini bread. Like it's not that big of a deal. I'm not dieting. I don't have to track this. But I remember sitting there. And even though I was quote unquote eating intuitively, my mind was starting to race a million miles per minute. Am I allowed to have it? Should I eat it? Is it a good idea? But what if other snacks come out later on in the evening and then I have this, but then I want the other snacks? So should I just wait? But no one else is eating the chocolate chip zucchini bread. So should I eat it? I started to notice that even though technically I was eating intuitively, there was so much food noise still. There was still a lack of trust. There was a lack of conviction of, I want the chocolate chip zucchini bread, grab a slice, enjoy it. There was so much overthinking involved, even though technically I was eating intuitively. And even when I did end up having a slice, there was a little bit of guilt. It's like, I don't know, was that the right thing to do? And then after, I couldn't stop thinking about, but I want more. And I'm sure you probably experienced this. You allowed yourself to have a thing, and then you're like, but I want more of it. So at this point, I recognized it wasn't enough to just say, I'm eating intuitively. It wasn't enough to just say, I'm no longer dieting. It wasn't enough to say, like, you're allowed to have the chocolate chip zucchini bread. That didn't automatically quiet the food noise in my mind. That didn't automatically not make me want to get more. It wasn't enough to say, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to heal my relationship with food. And automatically the food noise would go away. Eating intuitively doesn't automatically mean you're going to be so connected to your body. You're going to be confident in your decisions. You're going to be able to just have one slice of chocolate chip zucchini bread and be able to easily move on. And that was even more clear to me of like, okay, Lorna, it requires more than a positive badass mindset. And it also requires more than just saying like, I am committed to doing this. And it requires more to just say, I'm no longer dieting and I'm eating intuitively, because there's actually tools and processes that needs to be in play for the food noise to go away and for you to not feel impulsive. So this is where this was the difference between 2018 version of me and 2019 version of me, where 2019, I actually learned the tools. And so this is where I developed my root and rewire process that I want to teach and share with you guys today. The root, AKA why you're feeling out of control with food, why the food noise is there, why you're overeating. Let's talk about the root of it. When people think I need to understand the root, sometimes it can feel very overwhelming. It's like, I need to figure out why. Okay, it's like this big process that I have to go through. I have to figure out the underlying reason of why I'm thinking about food, why I'm binging, why the evenings are the time that I just comfort myself with food. It's like this big daunting process. And for me personally, I grew up in an amazing childhood. I had a very good family life, great relationship. I was healthy. I was happy. Like, I personally, thank God, I had a good childhood. And many of my clients who come to me say the same thing. So then I'm like, why the heck, and Bob, do I feel controlled by food? But I knew that I spent 10 years of my life on some type of diet, some type of plan. And even though at the time I was no longer dieting, I was no longer restricting, in the past, it was always, nope, can't eat this food. You probably should eat this food. Oh, well, if you want to change your body, well, don't have the carbs. There was always something that I was following. I was always meticulous about what I was eating or what I was not allowed to eat, what I was allowed to eat. And so, of course, food's going to be on your mind. Of course, you're going to have these strong urges and feel deprived if there are certain foods that you're technically allowed to eat and there's certain foods that you're technically not allowed to eat. And so the root is going to be different, of course, from person to person. But 99.9% of the time, especially with the clients that I work with, there's been some type of restriction in the past. You don't have to be dieting now. You've released your food rules. You don't have to be dieting now. But in the past, when there was, oh, well, this trainer told me not to eat this, and I learned, don't have the gluten, and I learned don't eat after 7 o'clock. Oh, be mindful of this food. Well, if you want to lose weight, don't eat this food. When there was always rules around don't eat this, that past restriction is causing you to have urges to binge today, urges to overeat today, urges to mindlessly snack today. You don't have to be dieting now to be experiencing the effects of past restriction for even years or decades. What a lot of people do is they blame their eating on external factors. It was a busy day at work. My husband brought in my favorite cookies. I'm super stressed. This thing happened to me. I'm moving. I'm going on vacation. I don't have enough willpower, whatever it is. And when you try to figure out, like, why did I mindlessly snack in the evening tonight? Why is food on my mind 24/7? When you're trying to dissect it, it often feels exhausting. It often feels exhausting. Even if right now, let's say maybe you're feeling really good with food, but the evenings are still really challenging. And you contemplate and you ask yourself, okay, what about this evening made me want to self-soothe with food? Because yesterday I didn't. And the day before, I actually just went to bed. So why tonight? What was different about tonight? Yeah, there might be some truth. Okay, maybe I was super busy all day and I didn't actually get in enough food, so I'm actually just hungry. Maybe it could be some truth of like, well, you actually wanted an extra slice of toast with peanut butter and you told yourself you probably shouldn't, so then that created an urge later on in the evening. There could be some truth to like, let's just take a hot minute and just kind of like see throughout the day, like how the day went. Okay, maybe what could I have done differently? Sometimes that's valuable. But when you're like, why? Like, what's the reason? Let me figure it out. You're giving so much time and energy and attention to it. When really, the number one reason why you binge, and when I say the word binge, it could be emotional eating, it can be overeating. I just use the word binge a lot, but it could be mindlessly snacking, emotional eating, overeating. When you just understand that the number one reason why you do it is because you have these strong urges, you stop trying to figure out this daunting process of like, but why did I do it? You're mindlessly snacking, you're binging, you're overeating because you have this urge. The urge is this, it's like this feeling, it's this surge of energy, this rush of anxiety of either binge urges of like, I need to eat right now, I'm super impulsive. Maybe you're experiencing emotional urges. I don't know how to process my emotion and I need to feel comfort. I just want to feel relaxed. I want to feel comforted, safe, loved. Maybe you're having mindless urges and you're like, I don't know how to just be with myself. I don't know how to just sit with myself. So you just eat to fill a void. Maybe you're experiencing all these different types of urges or a few urges. The urge, the feeling that you get is why you're in the pantry, mindlessly snacking. People who have a healthy, balanced relationship with food, they don't feel this urge to go into the pantry because they had a long, stressful day. They're like, I'm going to go for a run. Maybe you know people like that. Like my husband, if he's had like a busy day, he's like, I'm going to go for a run. Some people will be like, I'm going to go take a hot bath. And I'm not saying do these things in replace of eating. We're going to get to this. But what I'm saying is the reason why you are either mindlessly snacking, using food for comfort, or binge eating is because you have this urge. And people who have a healthy, balanced relationship with food, they don't have this urge. They don't get home from work after a long day and they're like, I just need ice cream. They're like, I'm going to put on my favorite show and just relax, like actually relax. Actually relax. When you go out for dinner, it's like, oh, I, I'm not going to just keep on eating. I'm full. Why would I keep on eating? It's like the most no-brainer thing. But people who have urges to even overeat, it feels like impossible to stop eating when you're full. So it's the urge that's causing you to engage in behaviors that don't actually feel like you. Now, this urge is caused by two different reasons. One, restriction, and two, habit. Now, when people think of restriction, you might not be dieting anymore, but there's a sneaky restriction that's going on. And this is what happened to me. I was like, I'm not dieting. Like, I'm allowed to eat the foods. Like, I'm not, I'm not like, no, you can't have the bread, or like, I wasn't really like, I wasn't dieting anymore, but there was still restriction. I'm going to explain to you what I mean by this. So you might be, yeah, sure, you might be saying don't have certain foods. And obviously, that's going to cause you to feel deprived and have strong urges, but you might not be restricting right now. But there is mental restriction going on, meaning you're allowing yourself to have the dessert, but you're putting limits. Okay, I can have the dessert, but I'm only going to have it one time per week. I'm allowed to have a bowl of ice cream, but just like one small bowl. So there's limitations around how much you're eating. And you might think, like, I'm not restricting, but that is still restriction. It's like you're allowing yourself to have the ice cream, but you're like, but just one bowl. That is still restriction. You're allowing yourself to have the peanut butter, but you're like, well, if I have the peanut butter, I need to weigh out 1 tablespoon and like that's it. But that's still restriction. Restriction is also mental. You're allowing yourself to have the toast with peanut butter for breakfast, but the whole time in your mind, you're like, maybe I should have had something healthier. Should I be eating like some eggs and veggies for breakfast? Should I get a smoothie to at least like get in more nutrients? That self-judgment, whether you recognize it or not, is mental restriction. So restriction is not just like, I'm on a diet. A lot of you guys aren't dieting anymore, but it's like, I'm still feeling bad over my food choices. I'm still judging my food choices, and or I'm still limiting myself. Oh, well, if you want to change your body, well, then 1 slice of toast only, okay? Well, you know, you can have the peanut butter, but like if you have it for breakfast with your oatmeal, you can't have it later on with some dates. You can't do that. That mental restriction is actually causing urges. So, as a result of this type of restriction, whether it's physical restriction or some type of mental restriction, that's what causes these urges. And every time you have an urge to binge or mindlessly snack, emotionally eat, and you give in, that's what creates these habitual cycles. When you do something once, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and you do it again, it's like, well, of course, it's going to be that much harder for you to break this cycle. So the root for most people is some type of restriction. It's very rare that you are thinking about food and you're overeating and you're going to the restaurant and you're feeling anxious around what you're eating if you haven't had some type of restriction in the past. It's very rare. But it's not just restriction. It's everything is habitual. You go out to eat at a restaurant, the food is so good and you're full, but you're like, I have to clean my plate. That's a habit. After dinner, you literally just finished dinner and you go into your pantry to grab something sweet. That's a habit. Come the end of the day, You drive home from work and automatically you go into the pantry and you grab some snacks to sit on the couch. That's habitual. So the root is usually some type of restriction. And as a result of the restriction, you have these urges and you continuously give in. Whether giving in looks like when you're home alone, whether when you're at a restaurant and you continuously overeat, whether it's every evening, whether it's every time you're bored and you don't know how to just be with yourselves and you go into the pantry and you grab a snack, that repetition is what creates the habit in the brain. And so when you release the restriction, what ends up happening is you have less urges. And when you have less urges, well, then of course it's easier for you to not give in to them. It's easier for you to not mindlessly snack come 8 o'clock. It's easier for you to be at that restaurant and to stop when you're full. And the more times you can be consistent with not giving into your urges eventually stop popping up. So the root, stop trying to figure out, why did I binge? Why did I emotionally eat? You're engaging in these behaviors because you have these urges. That's the root aspect. Now, when it comes to rewiring your brain, I'm going to break this down into different categories of cravings, urges, mindlessly snacking, overeating, and then nighttime eating. Okay. So rewiring your brain is all about doing things differently, right? It's like, if I think this one thought, I got to think something different. So when it comes to cravings, there might be a current thought that says, I still have a hard time trusting myself to eat what I'm craving. I know I don't have to fear my cravings. Cravings aren't bad, but I might still have this thought of like, but I can't trust myself. If I choose to eat this thing, I'm probably going to overdo it. I don't want to even start, because what if I spiral out of control? And what if I go overboard? If you've ever experienced this, you're like, every time I eat what I'm craving, I just want more. Like, but the ice cream is so good, but like the chocolate is so good. And if this has ever happened to you, this happens because, number one, it actually wasn't a true craving. It was an urge. And I see this very often. So people will say, well, Lorna, I ate what I was craving. I wanted this food. I wanted it. So then I had it, but then I spiraled out of control. But I can right off the bat say that actually wasn't a true craving. You're confusing that with an urge. So you thought it was a craving, but it was actually an urge. And what I mean by that is you were actually impulsive. You weren't experiencing a craving where it's just like, ooh, like that sounds really good. And you're kind of like in this like calm, cool, collected vibe. You're like, that actually sounds really good. It's more like, I need to eat it right now. And so if you give in thinking it's a craving, but it was actually an urge, of course you're going to spiral out of control because you are already in an impulsive state. I see this very often. Lorna, but I eat what I'm craving and I overboard. Okay, that was not a craving. You were actually experiencing an urge. You were impulsive before you even started having the cookie. So of course, one cookie wasn't enough. If you think it's a craving, but it's actually an urge, and you give in, not only are you, of course, going to spiral out of control because you're already impulsive, but guess what you're doing? When I say about rewiring your brain, if you're constantly giving into your urges, you're just further ingraining this habit into your brain. And so sometimes you might think like, I'm doing the innocent thing, like I'm allowing myself to eat what I'm craving, but you're not giving into your cravings, you're giving into urges, which is why you're spiraling out of control. And then people often say, See, I can't eat what I'm craving. I can't trust myself. No, you can. You just gave into an urge, not a craving. So that's the first reason. But the second reason, maybe it was a true craving. Maybe it was actually a true craving. But the mind drama that comes with having that cookie. Oh, but you said you wanted to lose weight. So why are you eating this? Shouldn't you be eating something healthier? That is what actually causes you to say, F it, eat more, finish the row of cookies, finish your baking, finish the last bit of bread, because I'll do better tomorrow. So you either, number one, gave into an urge, not a craving, which of course you're going to spiral out of control, or maybe two, it was a craving. It actually was. But the whole time, this dialogue, you shouldn't be eating this. You said you wanted to lose weight, you want to change your body, you had cookies yesterday, why are you eating cookies today? That makes you feel like absolute crap. And then you just continue eating more. So this is a very important distinction because I'm spending so much time on this, but this is very important. So rewiring your brain when it comes to cravings is the more that I honor my true physical cravings and say no to my urges and I understand the difference, the less impulsive I'm going to feel. So you first have to understand the difference between cravings and urges so you know when to give in and when not to give in. Because if you keep on giving into your urges, thinking they're a craving, you're going to continue being impulsive. However, on the flip side, when you honor the true physical craving and you actually give into the true physical craving, you don't have urges anymore. Your urges don't pop up. You just eat what you're craving and you can move on. But you have to understand the difference between the cravings and the urges. So you have to check in with your body to see, am I super impulsive or am I kind of calm, cool, collected? And I'm like, ooh, that cookie sounds good right now. Then you have to let go of the narrative in your mind of like, oh, you probably shouldn't be eating this. What's the correct thing to do? And trust that by eating what you're craving, you're going to prevent urges from popping up. Okay. Now, when it comes to urges, so that was cravings. When it comes to your urges, your current thoughts might be, I have to give in. It's so strong. Honestly, I'm not even going to bother try to not give in because I'm just going to probably give in anyways. Like I've already decided. Or you might have current thoughts of like you're fighting with yourself, convincing yourself don't do it because you're going to regret it. But then the other part of you is like, but this is who I am, just like one more time. So rewiring your brain when it comes to urges is reminding yourself that every single urge counts. If I don't give into this one urge today, the next urge is going to be less intense. I am uncomfortable right now. I'm not experiencing pain. There is a difference. It feels like my body is in pain, but I'm just uncomfortable. I think sometimes, like I remember when I used to have urges, it was like 911 emergency. Like, this is so uncomfortable. But then I just recognized, like, I'm not in pain. Like, you're not in pain. It's uncomfortable as shit. Absolutely. But you're not in pain. There's just discomfort there. And when you can remind yourself that you're not in pain, you're just in an uncomfortable position, then you can not relax, but it doesn't feel like this urgency of like, I need to give in to feel relief. It's like, I'm uncomfortable right now, but I can handle the I can handle the discomfort. I'm not in pain. There's a difference between pain and discomfort. And so you want to give into your cravings, not your urges. When an urge comes on, this is where you have to say, but this isn't the real me. This isn't a craving. So I'm going to let the urge do its thing. I'm going to let the urge kind of like throw its tantrum. Because if I give in, I'm further ingraining this habit into my brain. But I don't have to see this as punishment. I'm not going to freaking even enjoy the food anyways. I'm going to wait until a craving comes on, and then I'm going to get excited to give in because I'm actually going to enjoy that food. If I just give into an urge, I'm not going to enjoy it. So don't see like you're missing out. This is another piece too. Sometimes it's like, but I'm missing out. Like I want to give into the urge. Like it feels like I have to. You're not going to be missing out on anything. When you give into an urge, you don't taste the food, you feel like crap. There's nothing you're going to miss out on. When you feel a craving come on, enjoy it. Have the cookie, have the sweet, have whatever. Like enjoy it, because that's actually the real you, and you're gonna experience pleasure from enjoying it. So that's cravings, that's urges. Now let's move on to mindless snacking. So your current thoughts when it comes to mindless snacking might be, if the food is in front of me, I'm going to eat it. If I'm bored, I don't know what to do, so I just eat. Rewiring your brain when it comes to mindless snacking is, I am safe to just be without always needing to be eating or even just doing something. Just because my husband is pulling out a snack, just because my kids are snacking right now, doesn't mean that I need to. I could eat whenever I want, but if I'm not hungry or having a true craving, I'm allowed to just not have anything. Most people are so used to, in the past, saying, no, can't have a snack. You know, when you've restricted in the past, you're so used to telling yourself, no, don't have a snack. I remember there would be so many times where I'd be trying to do like this whole intermittent fasting thing. And then Andrew would be eating at like 8 o'clock. And I'm like, I really want a snack. I really want, but don't have a snack. I really want it. All those coconut clusters look so good, but don't have it. And I was so used to just telling myself, no, 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 no. And if you're used to that, and then you're no longer dieting, you're no longer restricting, and your partner is eating something, it feels like the same level of restriction where it's like, you're not telling yourself you can't have this snack. You're not hungry. You're not craving it. So you have to see it as different. You're allowed to. When most people aren't dieting anymore, it's like this level of freedom. It's like, well, I'm allowed to. So why would I say no? I'm not dieting. I can have the snack. There's no like rules of don't eat after a certain time. So I'm allowed to. Why would I tell myself not to if I'm allowed to? But this is where you have to say to yourself, but I'm this badass. And I'm not going to just eat because my partner's eating. I'm not going to just eat because there's food in front of me. A badass doesn't just eat because there's food in front of her. A badass eats when she's actually craving something, when she actually wants something. So you have to rewire your brain to say, me saying no to a snack when I'm full and I'm literally not even craving it. Like, that's what badasses do. They just respect their body. So you can get excited to say, like, I'm rewiring my brain out of habitual snacking. I want you to feel like empowered versus it's like, it feels like this deprivation. You could if you want. But you're like, but I'm this badass who respects myself and I'm not hungry right now. It feels empowering when you're in the driver's seat and you can say, I'm actually not craving anything. I'm not hungry. I'm good. That's an empowering feeling versus convincing yourself of like, I'm restricting or I'm feeling deprived. Okay. Now, when it comes to overeating, we talked about cravings, we talked about urges, we talked about mindless snacking. When it comes to overeating, your current thoughts might be, but the food is just so good. But I don't have this food often. But this is my favorite restaurant and like this is my favorite pasta dish. Rewiring your brain is to say, this food is so good, which is exactly why I'm going to stop. when the food stops tasting good. I did a podcast episode of, I shared that Andrew and I went to the fair last week and he got the funnel cake. I'm not sure if you guys listened to that podcast episode, but Andrew got a funnel cake and he had some and then he said, I'm good. I just stop when the food stops tasting good. I just stop when the food stops tasting good. This is rewiring your brain. The food stops tasting good, so I'm going to stop eating. Versus the food is so good, the food tastes so good, I have to keep on eating. It's saying the food is so good, I love this food. So that's exactly why I'm going to stop when the food stops tasting good. Because if I'm eating this food because it's tasting good, and then it stops tasting good, I'm just going to stop. And every single time that you stop when you're satisfied, you're comfortably full, your brain says, this is my new level of fullness. Gotcha. Okay, we're stopping here now. I was so used to before leaving each meal feeling so uncomfortably full. But now I'm retraining my brain to say, actually, what feels better is stopping when I'm comfortably full. So this is all patterns, right? Patterns in the brain. If you continue eating when your body is way too full, that's what your body is used to. If you stop when you're comfortably full, your body gets used to that. And your body is like, we don't go past here. But it requires you to actually stop when you're comfortably full and not continue to say, but just this one last time, because it's never just one last time. Then you continue to say one last time, you continue overeating. And then that's what makes it harder to break the cycle. Okay. Now, when it comes to nighttime eating, your current thoughts might be, but this is my only time to unwind. It's like a reward at the end of the day, after just doing so much for everyone else around me. It's like, this is finally me time. This is finally my time to unwind, my time to relax. And rewiring your brain, the rewiring your brain thought is me time is me actually having time for myself, to myself, not with food. Filling up my own cup, not filling up my own stomach. If you actually want to unwind at the end of the day, it's not going to involve food because that's actually not unwinding. How often do you have a snack and then you end up staying up way later and then you go to bed later and then you wake up and where's the unwinding part? Rewiring your brain to say what I actually desire in the evening is to have time with me, not with the ice cream, not with the snack. It's like, I actually want time for me. I hear this so often, like it's the only time I have for myself, but you're not even spending it with yourself. You're spending it with food. That's not me time. So as much as you feel like I need the food to relax, that's just conditioning. That's not the real you. The real you wants to relax. The real you wants me time. But you're not actually getting me time. And this is why it's like it happens almost every night because you're still looking for me time. You guys, I want you to get this. If in the evening you're wanting me time, but you're not spending time with you're spending time with food, you're going to do that the next night. And you're going to do that the next night. And it's going to be this habit because you're not actually filling up your own cup. When you actually have time for yourself, you actually have me time, you actually fill up your own cup, you meet those needs, You're not going to need food tomorrow in the evening, the next night. But if you keep on reaching for snacks, it's like your brain's like, this is my way of relaxing. So you have to like decode the conditioning in your brain. Your brain always associates nighttime with snacking. And now you have to associate evenings with time to connect with myself. You need to create a new pattern in your brain, a new association. And this isn't to say, instead of eating, or if you want a snack, don't have a snack, go do something else. This is the times that you know you don't need anything. It's just habitual. You have to find other ways to relax and find me time. Okay. So rewiring your brain, whether it's around urges, mindless snacking, overeating, regardless, you have to change your thoughts. You have to change your behaviors. And I love using the analogy of cleaning your house, cleaning your room. Maybe some of you guys have heard me talk about this before. So if you've ever done a deep clean of your house, we just had cleaners come to our house last week, and it was like this deep clean of the house. And I'm sure if you've done this yourself or you had someone clean your house, you look around and you're like, I feel so good. Like the environment is clean, everything is organized, and you just feel better. It's like the greatest reward. But doing a deep clean of your house once isn't going to keep your house clean forever. You do a deep clean, but eventually things are going to pile up on the counters and there's going to be dust. And before you know it, you're going to have to clean your house again. But what makes it easier the next time you do a deep clean is having specific systems in place where you can keep the house tidy throughout the week. So that the next time you do a deep clean, it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm like restarting from ground zero. I don't even know where to begin. It's like I maintained my house being cleaned. I had systems in place throughout the week, throughout the days. So the next time I do a deep clean, it's easier. Now, just like you can't expect yourself to do a deep clean once and expect your house to be spotless forever, the same thing applies to rewiring your brain. If you don't give into an urge one time, you're going to be proud. It's going to feel really good, just like the deep clean of your house. But that doesn't mean that you're never going to have an urge ever again. Not giving into an urge once feels incredible, just like the deep clean of your house. But you also need to have specific systems in place of how to become less impulsive and how to make your urges less intense over time. So that the next time a strong urge comes on, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's like this big daunting process of like the deep clean of your house. You've had systems in place to make you less impulsive. So even if a strong urge to binge comes on, it doesn't feel as intense. It doesn't feel as overwhelming because it's like, oh, like throughout the week, I'm starting to eat what I'm craving. So my urges are less intense. I'm changing how I'm thinking about food. So I'm not beating myself up as much. It's easier to not give into your urges when you have systems in place that actually weaken your urges over time. Just like the house example. You can't do a deep clean of your house once and be like, I'm just never going to clean my house ever again. The next time you do a deep clean, it's going to be easier when you've done a little bit here and there. And it will be easier for you to not give into your next urge when you're doing things in place to become less impulsive and to make your urges less intense. Repetition, you guys, repetition is the key to rewiring your brain. Not giving into your urge once is great, but you're going to have to do that again and again and again if you want to eliminate your urges. Going to the restaurant and stopping when you're full is fantastic, but you're going to have to do that over and over and over again to reconnect to your true fullness cues. Deciding to go up to bed one evening instead of mindlessly snacking is fantastic. But you're going to have to learn how to fill up your own cup instead of using food as reward over and over and over again in order to break that association with nighttime equals me time equals snacking. Having a stressful, busy day at work and then going to a yoga class to relax is great. But if you just did that once and then all the other times you're using, ice cream to make yourself feel better, you have to do it repetitively over time. And this doesn't mean that it has to take a long time, but you do have to do things differently. You do have to shift your thoughts and you do have to take a different action. Right? This is what rewiring your brain is. Just like the deep clean of your house. You need systems in place. It's going to be easier to maintain a clean house if you do things throughout the week instead of, I'm not going to do anything and then I got to deep clean my house. Same with your urges. I'm not going to do anything differently, but when an urge comes on, I'm going to try to not give in. It's going to be a lot more challenging than if we implement these strategies of the mindless urges. Okay, I'm going to change my association with the evenings. I'm going to stop when I'm full consistently. Not just when I'm like going to a wedding and like, okay, I'm going to a wedding. So like, hopefully I can, there's 7 courses, but like, hopefully I don't go overboard. You have to set yourself up for success. And that requires repetition. You need systems in place. You got to change your thoughts. You have to take a different action consistently so that it doesn't feel overwhelming. The next time an urge comes on, it doesn't feel overwhelming. The next time you're on vacation with your family, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm on vacation and it's like this big daunting thing, like hopefully I don't go overboard and hopefully I don't hopefully I don't overeat. It's like when I'm at home, I've been practicing stopping when I'm comfortably full so that when you go on vacation, you're like, I've been practicing it. When a holiday comes, instead of like, oh my gosh, it's the holidays, like even Halloween and Thanksgiving in the States and Christmas is coming up. Instead of waiting for the holidays to come to be like, okay, I'm going to try to not go overboard. I'm going to try to be calm and present with my family. I'm going to try to not overeat on the sweets. It would be a lot easier if you practiced that and you implemented that even when you're just at home on a regular basis so that when you do have the holidays, it's not as challenging. So I want you to think of the deep clean house example when it comes to rewiring your brain, because it's the different action that it's taking a different action that leads to different results, but it's also different action repetitively over time that creates the different results. And you guys, I want you to get so freaking fired up about this. Like it only becomes easier over time. I know some of my clients are on here who work with me for, 6 months, a year, and it just gets easier over time. It's like just like any habit, it's like the more times you do something, right? It's like the more times you say, I'm going to get up on my first alarm and you do it, it becomes easier over time. Making your bread, brushing your teeth, going for a walk first thing in the morning. It's always hard, any habit at the beginning, and then you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it. And it's like, it actually feels so much easier. You do got to show up and implement the tools over and over and over again. But you do this and then you spend the rest of your life no longer thinking about food. You spend the rest of your life no longer worrying about, am I going to go overboard when I go on vacation? You don't have to worry about that. You've rewired your brain. You have your true level of fullness, and it's easy for you to stop there. True, easier over time. Yes, it's always the case. And Christine, you're such a example of this. You know, it's very daunting to be like, oh my gosh, I have to like stop when I'm full and I have to not give in to my urges. It's like, but if you see it on the flip side of like, it gets easier over time, it's it's so much more exciting. I remember when I was on my journey, as hard as it was to not give into an urge, I'm like, but just imagine the next urge is going to be less intense and it's going to be easier. So like bite the bullet and don't give into this urge, because then the next one's going to be less intense and it just became easier. And eventually you don't have any urges. Muscle memory starts to eventually kick in. Absolutely. Yes. And it's just like, then it becomes on autopilot. And this is where you can look at somebody, maybe you look at me and you're like, oh, I wish I could just like have an effortless relationship with food. I wish, or like the person at the restaurant who just leaves food on her plate. She's not trying to do that. She's not trying to leave food on her plate. She's not even thinking about that. She's so busy in conversation with her husband. But because she's just so connected to her body, she's like, why would I finish my food? I'm full. It's like the most no-brainer thing. And if you don't consistently use these tools over time, it can feel like, oh, I wish I can be that person. You can and you will. You can and you will. It will become effortless for you too, where you don't even have to try. Like Christine, it's like used to always overdo it on desserts. And she's not trying now to like not have dessert. Her body sometimes is just like, I genuinely don't want any. But that's because she's fully rewired her brain. She's implemented my root and rewire process. But if you don't actually use the tools consistently over time, you're always going to feel like, oh, but I wish I could say no to dessert and it feel easy. Until you actually practice that over time, and then it literally becomes effortless. So this is not about I have to try really hard. I have to try really, really hard to not have the dessert. I have to try really, really, really hard to not eat late at night, and hopefully I can keep that promise to myself. I don't want you to rely on hope, because that's so exhausting. It's like, I hope I don't do that. I want you to feel confident in knowing that you can be able to be that person that actually no longer even craves desserts all the time, or doesn't have to always have dessert when you go to the restaurant, or you can go to the restaurant, you can easily stop when you're full. I want you to be that person. But there's a difference between I hope it happens. I hope I don't binge tonight. I hope I can just go to bed early and not mindlessly snack. I hope that I can just stop when I'm full, versus using a tool to regulate your nervous system and be less impulsive with food, so you guarantee that's not going to happen. I'm gonna walk you through how to do this. So telling yourself to not do something, how does that work out? Have you ever told yourself don't do something? Or when somebody else tells you not to do something? I don't know about you, but I'm like, I do the exact opposite. When I was younger, my mom would say like, clean your room. I literally would throw my clothes on the floor. I'm like, don't tell me what to do. I will clean my room when I have the desire to clean my room. It's a little sassy. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you rebel. Absolutely. It's like someone telling you like calm down and you're like, do not tell me to calm down. And you start like getting even more agitated. So telling yourself to not snack in the evening isn't going to work. Telling yourself you must leave food on your plate feels like pressure. Telling yourself to not binge becomes all you think about. So instead of trying to fight against yourself and tell yourself to don't do it, where then you become, like Christine says, you become the rebel and you literally do the exact opposite, it's more effective to regulate your nervous system so you're less impulsive. So here's the difference, okay? Option one It's a long day. You're driving home from work. You're exhausted. You're overwhelmed, and you're driving home and you're trying to convince yourself, okay, when I go home, just go straight upstairs. Just go straight upstairs. Don't even go into the kitchen. Just go straight upstairs. Just stay away from the kitchen. Don't even go there. And you're avoiding the behavior that often makes you think about food so much more. Nothing changes in your physical body just because you're upstairs. You might think, if I go upstairs, out of sight, out of mind, but you're upstairs and you're still feeling impulsive. Nothing has changed other than the fact that you're upstairs. Your body still feels like, I want to eat, I want to eat, I want to eat. And then you end up being rebellious and you're like, tell me I can't snack at night. F it, I'm going downstairs and I'm going to town. That's the first option. Or option two, it's been a long day. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're feeling stressed. You're driving home from work. And instead of telling yourself, don't do it, you say, hold on. Right now, I am in a reactive state. I'm overwhelmed. And so if I go and eat right now, I'm going to go overboard. It's not going to be in a controlled way because my nervous system is hijacked. My nervous system is in a heightened state. So that actually wouldn't be the best idea. Like that's not going to feel the real me. Of course, I'm not going to just like have one little bowl of ice cream and just move on. Like I'm in an impulsive state. So let me regulate my nervous system first. And then if I want to have a snack, I can have something. The first option is avoidant. Don't do it. Just don't even go into the kitchen. Don't do it. That makes you rebellious and you say F it and you end up doing it. Versus if I go and eat right now, there's no way I'm going to eat in a controlled way because I'm impulsive. My nervous system is heightened. So I have to regulate my nervous system so that I can feel connected to my body. I can be in tune with my body so that when I do go have a snack, I can have it in a more controlled way. So different ways that you can regulate your nervous system. Breath work. I know Erin loves breath work. Catherine loves breath work. Like breath work is so important depending on if you're impulsive or if you want to dissociate. So if you're impulsive and you're like, I need to eat right now, and your nervous system is more like fast, like I need to eat right now, you want to down regulate your nervous system. So you can do a 2-part slow breath. Now the opposite, if you more so resonate with like dissociating eating, emotionally eating, like I just don't want to feel for a second, I want to numb out, you actually need to like bring your body back to life. And so you can do a 3-part breath. Basically, you breathe into your belly, you breathe into your chest, and you exhale from the mouth. It sounds like this. So you breathe into your belly, breathe into your chest, and exhale through the mouth. It's more faster. So depending if you're impulsive and you're feeling like bingey, right, down regulate your nervous system with a 2-part slow breath. If you're like, I've just had such a long day and I need to just numb out and I don't want to think, I don't want to feel, I don't want to do anything, I just want to eat and numb out, faster breath. Erin said nervous system regulation before eating has been one of my biggest breakthroughs so far. Yes. So there's that. There's breath work techniques. There is exposure to cold. So I talk about this often. You might have heard me talk about this of like hopping in a cold shower. That's actually one of the tools that I used on my journey where it's like you get into a cold shower and it's just a shock to your system and it creates a state change in your body. And even things like shaking, like moving your body, shaking out the energy. These are different ways to regulate your nervous system. And that is very different than, come on, don't do it. Just go upstairs, just avoid it, just don't eat. One is avoidant, which makes you rebellious, which makes you think about food so much more, which makes you say F it and give in anyways. And the second option is, this isn't the real me. So I need to regulate my nervous system so I get back to feeling like the real me, so that when I do go and eat, it's also the real me. So that when I do go and eat, I can taste the food. I'm so connected to my body. It's like impossible for me to go overboard because I'm not even impulsive anymore. I'm so regulated. It's like, oh, okay, now I can actually enjoy it. Yes, I think of it as shaking off the urge. Yes. So this is often what happens. And if you've used the tools before, let me know what usually happens. But usually what happens is, number one, you don't end up wanting a snack, because the truth is, before you didn't want a snack. What you actually wanted was to feel different. When you were overwhelmed before, you thought you wanted a snack, but what you actually wanted is to stop feeling overwhelmed. But if you don't know how to stop feeling overwhelmed, you eat to try to feel not overwhelmed. But what you actually wanted was not the food. What you actually wanted was a state change. What you actually really wanted is to not feel overwhelmed. And you can do that by regulating your nervous system, minus the guilt and shame and judgment that comes with eating when you know you're not hungry. So often, number one, you don't even want the snack because it wasn't even what you wanted in the first place. Or number two, you have a snack, but how you eat it is so different. It's like, I had a bowl of ice cream and I'm good. I had a bowl of cereal. I had some toast before, as a snack, and that's it. Like, I just stopped when I'm satisfied. You don't go overboard because you're not in this impulsive state. There's a really, really, really big difference. And I know there's some new people on here. So if that resonated with you, feel free to let me know in the chat box. Do you see the difference? It's like someone slaps you in the face and you're brought back to your reality and you reset. Yeah, it's like, hold on, wait, let me come back to the truth of who I am. Right? So telling yourself to not do it, don't mindlessly snack tonight. Don't give into your urges. More food thoughts, more impulsive, you end up going overboard, versus regulating your nervous system first, coming back to the truth of who you are, your intuition. You taste the food, you enjoy it, and you don't overdo it. So this is one piece of the puzzle. This is one piece of the puzzle. Inside of my program, which some of you guys are already inside, Eliminate Your Urges, you're going to learn the different types of urges, because there's not just binge urges, right? We touch on this a little bit, but there's habitual urges, there's boredom urges, there's emotional urges. And knowing what to do to not give into each one, depending on which urge you're feeling, there's different tools. There's a different tool to use when you're having a binge urge compared to when you just want to numb out. There's a different tool to use when you want to just overeat compared to when you're just bored and you want to mindlessly snack. So this is one piece of the puzzle, knowing what to do, like having tangible tools of what to do depending on which urge is popping up is going to be very important. Because what did I talk about at the beginning? The more times that you don't give in, regardless if it's an overeating urge, an emotional eating urge, a binge urge, the more times you don't give in, the weaker those urges become. And eventually your urges stop popping up. This is actually how you rewire your brain. So inside of this program coming up, eliminate your urges, it's understanding not only how do you not give in, but it's understanding how to actually prevent your urges from actually arising in the first place. When you know how to prevent your urges from arising, it becomes so much easier for you to not give in. Like I was talking about the deep clean example. If you wait until I have a strong urge and now I have to try to figure out how to not give in, that's more challenging than being able to have a nervous system that's regulated, feeling less impulsive with food so that even if an urge does pop up, it doesn't feel so intense. So inside of this program, you're going to know exactly how to stop giving into every single urge, emotional urges, binge urges, overeating, how to prevent urges in the first place so they don't even pop up, and also what to do when you don't want to use the tools. Because I hear this very often. It's like, but Lorna, I know what to do. I know what to do. And like, I don't want to, I just want to go and eat. So we'll be talking about that as well too. So this program, it's a 14-day program. It's starting on October 27th. It's a 14-day program. You're going to get daily audio trainings from me. So you're constantly in the right headspace. You're constantly knowing exactly how to not give into your urges. It's a mix of mindset and strategy, of course, because you need both. So if you are impulsive, if you feel like I always just tell myself one last time, if you feel like every time I eat something that I'm craving, I always spiral into a binge, every single time it's late at night, I know it's all habitual. Like every night, I just feel like I have to have something. Or every time I go to the restaurant, I always feel like I need to have dessert. If you're having these urges, this is the program to join. This is exactly how to not give in to every single urge, how to feel way more powerful over your urges, how to actually regulate your nervous system. I just shared a few tools today, and there's so many more in my toolbox. So we're kicking off at the end of the month. It's 14 days. You can join now. It's $155 or 2 payments of $87. If you join before Sunday, love this. I'm in. I'm so excited. When you join before Sunday, you're going to get instant access to 2 of my most popular masterclasses, how to stop thinking about food 24/7 and how to stop eating when you're full. Okay. So that's if you join before Sunday. When we start, the price will increase. Okay. So that's the first option. Eliminate your urges. Okay. Now, if you are wanting more longer term support and you're like, yes, I want to eliminate my urges, but I also want a home. I want a space. I want to be part of a badass community where I feel seen. I want to be able to do this long term with you, Lorna. Like, I'm freaking ready to heal my relationship with food. Like, I want longer term support. I do have my root and rewire process, which is 6 or 12 months. So if you're looking for a more in-depth program, you're going to learn all the brain-based tools to not give into your urges. You're going to learn how to quiet the food noise in your mind so you can enjoy some lunch without thinking like whether you made the right decision or not. You're going to be able to be home alone and actually learn how to fill up your own cup instead of using food to fill up your stomach. This is where you can go to any restaurant and feel confident to order exactly what you want, effortlessly stop when you're full without even trying. It's like I'm this badass who just respects myself. Like I literally can't even continue to eat. Like I'm good. I'm full. And you just listen to your body. You get monthly coaching with me on Zoom. So this is where you can ask your personalized questions. We can, work through whatever it is that you need support with. You're part of our badass community. You have support for 6 to 12 months because you're not here for a freaking quick fix. You're not here like I want a binge-free month. You're like, I want to fully rewire my brain. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to freaking do this. So you're going to also get support throughout the holidays. This is why this is the best time to join. Halloween's around the corner, Thanksgiving for people in the States, Christmas. having support to navigate like triggering comments from friends and family about how much you're eating or the way you look, your body image, being able to go into the holidays feeling calm and present, knowing that you're not going to overdo it. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself. So if you're looking for more longer term support, this would be the best place to join. Now, when you join the Root and Rewire membership now, I'm giving you the program Eliminate Your Urges included. So if you're like, yes, I want to eliminate my urges, but there's also other things that I want to work through, like reducing the food noise, being able to stop eating when I'm full, being able to work through triggering comments from people. I want to be able to just have an effortless relationship with food. Like, I just want to eat normally again. This would be the place to join. It really is an all encompassing program. You've got the badass community, so you never feel alone. You've got coaching with me. You have all the tools, and you have support over the next 6 or 12 months. And you're going to get the Eliminate Your Urges program included. So if you're interested in that, you can message me membership for details. Erin says, Root and Rewire membership changed my entire life. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Yes. Yes. It really, like, if you're serious about this, and there's not like one program is better than the other. You might be like, I want to start with this 14-day program because my urges are very intense, and you start with that, and you can always upgrade to the membership. That's an option. Or if you just know, you're like, I'm ready to do this. Like, I'm ready to be committed. I'm like a freaking badass. I'm ready to improve my relationship with food, and I want support. I'm ready to do this sustainably. Then you join the membership and you get that program included. So there's not one that's better than the other. You just have to see kind of where you're at and what feels most aligned for you. Okay. So there's that. You'll get an email with all the details. You can message me if you're like, Lorna, can you help me figure out which one would be the best suited for me? Absolutely. Just send me a message and I'll do that. Lastly, don't forget about the giveaway, because if you want to have some badass credits to use towards these programs, leave a rating and review on the podcast, or send me a message, your biggest takeaways. You guys, it's literally so easy. Message me your biggest takeaway and you can win $111 to anywhere between $332 credits towards this program. Join, it's life-changing. Yes. So I'm literally giving you an opportunity to have some badass credits to use towards these programs, because I want to make it just like so accessible, because like everyone's saying, it's life-changing. Like, this will heal your relationship with food for the rest of your life. And I'm so confident in saying that. So that is everything. You'll get an email with all the details. I'm here. Message me if you have questions. Like, I got your back. I'm so here to support you through it all. And I cannot wait to support you guys. So thank you guys for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 3. There's still so many more golden nuggets. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 3. Okay.